Hello everyone, Vampire218 here, reviving an old series from my channel. Now, many of you who have been here since the beginning of my channel might remember the Pokemon Spotlight series I did, where I look over a Pokemon and I basically talk about its use in draft leagues. I'm going to be not only doing that, but I'm going to be expanding that to VG, or I guess not VGC, because VGC is doubles, I believe. I don't play VGC, so I don't know. But it will be for OU, Pokebank OU, until that's no longer really a thing, until it just merges, and just in general, how that Pokemon is. Now, understand that I have tested these Pokemon this Pokemon, rather, in about 6 hours of both OU and Pokebank OU, and obviously the Pokemon is Celesteela. Now, Celesteela is one of the Ultra Beasts. It is a Moon exclusive Ultra Beast. So, going over it, it is a Steel Flying type, meaning that it only has 2 weaknesses in Fire and Electric. Now, I'm sorry guys, I do like doing this on Smogon, but as of the time of recording, these are not available in Smogon, the Gen 6s. But, that being said, it takes half damage from Normal, Grass, Poison is immunity, Ground is an immunity, Flying, Psychic, both do half damage, Bug does a quarter damage, Dragon does half damage, Steel and Fairy do half damage. So overall, very good typing. It is the same typing as Skarmory, so it's very good for terms of how you want to use it for that. Now I want to find its base stat totals, which are not on here for some reason. Unless they're right here, right at the bottom. So, I see them. I will put these on screen looking better so that you can see them. But what they are is 97 in HP, 101 in attack, 103 in defense, 107 in special attack, 101 in special defense, and 61 in speed. Now, I will have a better pop-up on screen right now for what they are, just because I don't really like how this looks on it. So either way, pretty good stats. You know, this thing can be tank, it can be mixed, it can be physical, it can be defensive. Its only stat that's even subpar is speed. So if you want something that's bulky and can do damage, this is the mon you want. Now, its ability is Beast Boost. Like the other Ultra Beasts, it will raise its highest stat when it KOs a Pokemon. So that's pretty good. Now, before we go into the Showdown Team Builder and I show you some sets that I've had luck with, I want to look over its moves and compare it to Skarmory before we even go over there, because it's the closest thing that's to Skarmory. So, this thing gets a wide variety of moves. It gets things like Air Slash, Giga Drain, Leech Seed, Iron Head, Flash Cannon. It can up its speed with Automatize. It gets defense setters like Iron Defense. It can do other very good moves like Earthquake, Flamethrower, Flame Charge, and do not sleep on that move. I will explain that one in a little bit. Energy Ball, but if you're going for that, honestly, Giga Drain is going to be better. Acrobatics, it's not unreasonable to use, but it's very situational if you're going physical flying. Stone Edge, Rock Slide. I prefer Rock Slide over Stone Edge simply because of the accuracy versus power. Grass Knot, I've never used Grass Knot on this, so I'm sorry. And then it does get a whole bunch of, you know, the Z moves. And I honestly have not had very much luck with the Z moves on this Pokemon. So I will just say that now. Now, comparing this to Skarmory, we're going to pull up Skarmory right now. So this is Skarmory, guys. And what Skarmory has that Celesteela doesn't is it can set up spikes, it can set up Stealth Rock, it has dark coverage in Night Slash. It also gets Brave Bird and Roost, and that is huge. So you have to be very careful. While Skarmory, as you'll see on screen right now, has worse stats overall, Skarmory does have a better defense and a better speed, but it does not make up for the higher HP, attack, and special defense on Celesteela. However, Skarmory does fit that role as lead and Skarmory, you can have Defog on to get rid of hazards as well. So if you're looking for a nice lead Pokemon, Skarmory might be better. But if you want a Pokemon that can go in, take damage, dish out damage, and you're not too afraid of setting up things like Tailwind, like Stealth Rocks, like Spikes, then, you know, if you're not afraid of doing that, go for Celesteela. But if you need those, you might want Skarmory. We're going to jump right into Smogon now, Showdown rather, and this is the first set that I have had very good luck with. It is a very special set. It uses Air Slash, Giga Drain, Flamethrower, Flash Cannon, and you use these so that you cover a wide variety of types. You can hit the Steel types with your Flamethrower, you can hit the Water types with your Giga Drain, you can hit the Bug types with your Air Slash, you can also hit them with Flamethrower, although Air Slash is better if you're going up against things like Pheromosa, because Pheromosa right now is a very big issue in the meta. You also have Flash Cannon to hit Rock types, and Giga Drain hits them as well, but Flash Cannon is another stab move, so if you're ever scared that, ooh, you know, Giga Drain's not going to OHKO and you need to OHKO, you go for Flash Cannon. Now, Assault Vest on this is a very interchangeable item. I'm going Assault Vest on this just to increase its longevity. So this thing can take a special hit with very little investment in special defense, and, you know, it's full HP, full special attack, and just that extra 8 going into special defense. Now, what this is meant to do is to be your answer to some of the special issues, things like, I'm even just trying to think of special mons that are in the meta, so, but a lot of them are going to be running electricity, and this thing can take those hits and usually dish out enough damage to 1 or 2 hit KO back. That's why you're running Assault Vest. So this thing has the capacity, and once it gets a beast boost up, this thing is doing even more damage. You have that Giga Drain to, if you take, let's say, an electric attack or a fire attack, you have Giga Drain to get that health back. The second set here is a purely physical Life Orb set. This is the exact opposite. This, sure, it has the bulk, but you're using heavy hitting moves at the cost of your health. So you have Rock Slide to hit those flying types. You have Iron Head to hit those rock types. You have Flame Charge here to hit those other steel types. However, Flame Charge is also going to up your speed because, as I've said before, Celesteela's main issue is speed. And you have to be very, very careful because Celesteela is outsped by a lot of things in both regular OU and Pokebank OU. So you have to be very careful when you're using Flame Charge that you're using it correctly, because things like Heatran, you do not want to Flame Charge if they have a Heatran on their team. But other steel types, you know, the Alolan Sandslash, the Excadrill, these are things that in Pokebank OU, you don't mind going for a Flame Charge. You just gotta be very careful that if they have a Flash Fire on your team, because while many people will not expect a Flame Charge if they realize you're physical, once they do, they will have the answer for you, because other than Earthquake, you're having a hard time hitting those Flash Fires without Rock Slide. So you do have the coverage, you just gotta be very careful how you use it, because you don't have a way of getting health back. So you gotta be smart when you play this Celesteela set. It can do damage though. The third is a very interesting, I haven't had as much luck with it. It's really just a lead. You know, you have Leech Seed, which I've had very little luck with, as I've said. Toxic, and that's to hit everything that is the grass type. So you still get walled by things like Venusaur, by things that are immune to both Leech Seed and Toxic, because you can't really hit them with Giga Drain, and Earthquake is not doing enough. Now you have your Rocky Helmet here because you're fully defensive. So overall, Celesteela is a very, very good Pokemon. Now, we're just going to look into it in general before I talk about it in terms of competitive roles and whatnot. So, Celesteela in general, as we have already said, gets a lot of good moves. And when you're building a Celesteela, you have to think of what you're going against. So, in current OU, there are very few things that actually counter this. A Tapu Koko, it kind of counters it. But if you're running a defensive Celesteela, you generally can take a Wild Charge. You can almost always take a Volt Switch. It will do about 75% these moves if you're invested, but you can still take them. and then hit them back with a massive Earthquake for Tapu Koko, or like anything really. You do not want to be going for Iron Head because Earthquake will just do more to Tapu Koko in general because of the resistance from electricity. Now, using this in the Showdown tiers, before we go into draft, this is the kind of mon you want to base a core around. Now, this is an offensive and defensive mon, and you have to be very aware of that. That this thing can fit the role of your tank as well as the role of your damage. So you want to pair this thing with a very strong electric resist and fire resist. And they don't have to be in the same mon. So this thing pairs pretty well with Alolan Marowak. This thing pairs pretty well with Toxapex and something else. And overall, this thing just pairs well with water, a bulky water type or a bulky ground type. Because bulky ground types are immune to those, and even Crocodile. Crocodile is one of the things I've had the most luck with. Bulky ground types are immune to those electric attacks and can take those fire attacks for days. Things like Crocodile. Those are what I pair with this. Now in draft leagues, actually, I've never used it in draft leagues, but I've seen how this gets used in some draft leagues so far. And this is easily a turn 1, turn 2 pick. Now, I say turn 1, turn 2 because there are better things that you want that you could be basing your team around. Things like Tapu Koko, things like the Psychic Tapu. There are just a few better mons in Gen 7 that you would want, and because it is Draft League, there are just better mons out there. You know, obviously things like Kyurem Black that are slightly better than this. Now, while this can take out a Kyurem Black, I believe, if you're Scarfed it, it's not. You just gotta be very careful. So that's why this thing is an early pick in the draft leagues. I prefer it turn 2, turn 3 is what I would say. So, anyway guys, I've been Vampire Tweeting here bringing you my competitive analysis of Celesteela. I hope you've liked the video, and, you know, if I've made any mistakes, or if you question any of my things, let me know down in the comments. I've done about 12 hours of testing on Celesteela throughout the past couple days, and I've gotten it where I'm pretty comfortable using it in basically every meta that's currently available for it because of how I understand it. So, I will see you guys next time, where I cover another Pokemon for the Spotlight. Bye!